The Elven Star Method, mystery number 5. Let's just recap on what the previous 4 stages were. The first stage is where we really notice the facts of the matter, the facts of our life. What have we done that made a difference? Which events were crucial, the turning point, the crux of the matter? Which people have we met that really created a foundation upon which we built what subsequently occurred in our lives? And what's going on now? What's the facts of the matter now? Do we have enough money? Have we got a job that we love? Have we got a relationship that's working? Have we got a good relationship with colleagues and friends and children? And what are the facts of the matter now? Be honest with yourself. That's the first mystery, the muhasaba, we call that. And this allows us to understand the scope of our lives. We have created these situations. We've made a load of choices, decisions, and we've come to this, where we are now, as opposed to anything else we could have done. And there was an infinite number of choices we could have made differently to the ones that we did make. So, however good or bad or successful or failing that you think you are, the facts of the matter are these. That's mystery number 1. Establish the truth. Now, mystery number 2 is about thinking clearly, working the mind through a process, the 7-word system, in order that we understand clearly on a mental level what those facts are, what they mean, how to interpret what our life means to us. Not necessarily yet on a highly esoteric and spiritual level, but actually in real terms. Are we this, that, or the other? Do we do this, that, or the other? And understand what that means. We may well find that there is confusion and doubt and uncertainty, ambiguity about that question, who we are. And if there is, then that needs to be sorted out, because the clarity of mind is what gives us the understanding that we need to move forward in the direction that we need to go. Without clarity of mind, that won't happen. It can't happen. We need a clear mind. And to get clarity is no easy thing. So mystery number 2 is the training that we need in order to develop a clear mind. In mystery number 3, we focus, rather than training the mind, we train the heart. It seems a strange idea to some people that we can train the heart, but we can develop love. We can deepen it. We can widen it. We can make it more graceful, more beautiful. And we can do this according to certain practices. And the third mystery trains us to develop a deep, real love, a loving relationship with our Sabian symbols, the 7 special Sabian symbols of the Elven Star. They're ours, uniquely ours. It's very unlikely indeed that anyone else has the same set as you. So, to love that set, to love them individually, to love them as a set, is the training ground for the deepening of the capacity of the heart to radiate love. And we can test this. It's not just an idle concept. We can actually radiate love. We can do it consciously and see what happens. And you'll find extraordinary things happen. For example, children trust you more. Animals trust you more. People will be better in your lives, in your life, because of that radiance of love. Now, the 4th mystery is to put all these things together. And they could go together in this way or that way or the other way, but we want to make sure that we've decided once and for all how these go together, by which I mean the facts of the matter, the events and people in your life, the clarity of understanding given by the 7-word system. So there's 7 different things going on in life. Is that relationship mainly about yes or mainly about please? Is this event indicative of hello or thank you? that helps us. Another model. These aren't truths that we're dealing with here. They're tools. The Sabian Mysteries, it's not truth. Tool of awakening the understanding. And all we do is that. There is no absolute truth. We're just using tools. Whether they're beliefs or opinions or ideas or methods, they're all tools. And the tool becomes the reality of who we are, or helps us become that. So the tools that we're using to develop the deepening of the heart are the Sabian Mysteries, the Sabian Symbols. Now, to put these together with the 7 words, with the events and people in our lives, that's the job of the 4th mystery, to make a decision about how it all fits together. And then you've crystallized your sense of, who am I? So, having studied the first 4 mysteries, which is a set, the 4 first mysteries relate to the elements. The first is the earth plane, the word no in the 7-word system. The second is the air element, and it relates to the word hello. The third is the element of water, relating to the word thank you. And the 4th is the fiery plane. The fire element relates to the word goodbyes, dynamic. We move into the next 3 mysteries, and we're moving up a level. This is our spiritual side. The soul's voice is becoming much more influential here. And we're using the understanding of the number 3. The 5th mystery is the first of the spiritual equation of 3. So there's thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, according to Hegel. There's push back, and reconciliation. All the spiritual traditions celebrate the number 3. In this way, there's a force that wants something, or acts in a yang way, in a very definite, outgoing way. And then there's another force that doesn't want that, pushes back, yin, comes back at you. Then there's this third force, which is the Tao itself, the flow of life, which somehow finds a way to accommodate both and to reconcile. So we're looking at the 5th mystery with that model in mind. So we're looking for how we project into the world, what our faith tells us to project. So when we examine faith, we notice that it's a series of feelings and thoughts. And we take points of view from other people about what their faith is, and we read books, and we're told what faith is, and so on and so forth. But in the end, it's a composite experience of both the heart and the mind. It very often lacks precision. If you say to somebody, do you have faith? They might say yes. But then ask the question, in what? And they'll come up with an answer which you don't understand. They'll say, in God, for example. Okay, well, what is God? And they'll say something which isn't quite what you think, isn't quite what you agree with. Or they might say, I have faith that I'll be all right. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by I? Do you mean soul or ego? And what do you mean by all right? Do you mean you'll be tortured but come out the other side stronger because you've suffered? Or do you mean you'll avoid torture? What do you mean? And if you challenge people, if you challenge yourself, you'll notice that you don't know what your faith is. They don't know. You need to challenge it. You need to actually find out what your faith is. What do you have faith in? Do you have faith? What's it in? And then can you present that to the world? Because the difference between feeling it and speaking it is a dimension. It's hugely different. They're not the same things. Knowing what you have in your heart in the way of faith and speaking it, which requires the mind, that's not the same thing. So what we're doing in the 5th mystery is we're learning how to speak from the soul's perspective, the soul's voice. This is quite an advanced practice. We need to be clear about what we want to say, and when we're talking about this fifth mystery, we're talking about enacting the soul's will. And that's almost a strange idea, because the soul doesn't really have the kind of will that we think of as will. It's not willful. It's not driven towards a purpose. It doesn't really encounter obstacles, but it does have a purpose, and that purpose is the development, the evolution of its qualities. It wants to move along further in its path. That's why it's incarnated, to gain experiences in order to develop knowledge of itself, which moves it along as that knowledge unfolds. So the soul moves along, fulfilling its appetite for that knowledge. So unless we try to express what the soul is, well, we will not define it. We will not understand its relationship to faith and its relationship to worldliness. We can't do that. So the fifth mystery is showing us how we might be able to try to do that. And it works into, eventually it works into a life path. In fact, the fifth mystery is the beginning of our training in deciding what is our life path, now that we are soul conscious. The way to do that is to get yourself into a certain state of being, a very high spiritual state of being, and be in the company of other people who are also in that high state of being, and to talk with a very different attitude of presentation. It's almost prayerful, or we could say it is prayer actually. It's a sense of finding the highest in your being and speaking carefully from that position, knowing that you're not being judged, but knowing that you are being witnessed. Now, this type of communication is very extraordinary indeed. Incredibly so. It's by no means available in ordinary life. You have to contrive it in an exercise, typically. Those who have gone beyond that need for training, they hold themselves in a different way. They speak in a certain way. The gurus in India, you see them on television nowadays, on YouTube, and they hold themselves in a certain way, and they speak slowly, calmly, thoughtfully, and in an inspired way. And you can tell the difference between a real one and a charlatan, because the charlatan's acting like that. Charlatan knows that's how to act to be a good guru, and the guru is clearly in that state of being all the time. That's the only way he would only speak. He would only ever speak that way. So we're training ourselves in presenting the message to others. So when you reach this fifth mystery, you become a teacher. There isn't a lot of doubt about the fact that you will be influential over your friends, and they will ask you for your opinion and your knowledge and your advice. And you might not be an official teacher with groups and so on, but you will take on that role of guide, advisor, confidant, counselor. So that's what the fifth mystery is about.